What's up, everybody? My name is Tommy Griffith. I'm one of the co-founders of ClickMinded. Today, we're going to be going over how to close deals 10 times faster if you run a digital marketing agency or consultancy, how I like to create an agency pitch deck in 5 minutes or less. So if you run a digital marketing agency or consultancy, I doubt that I have to explain to you how painful the pitch deck process can be. If you've gone through the motions of trying to create an agency pitch deck for a prospective client, you may have found yourself spending hours and hours and hours copying and pasting from old decks, regurgitating old facts, sometimes getting them wrong, and then ending up with a pretty generic product. This is a massive concern for the vast majority of ClickMinded users, so we decided to solve it. So at ClickMinded, we created a tool that solves this problem for you. It's called the Marketing Strategy Generator, and we're going to be going through how it works now. So what's wild about this is ClickMinded has been in business for well over 10 years, and I don't think we've ever gotten reviews better than the ones that we do for the Marketing Strategy Generator. Sam Newman. This is one of the most incredible tools ClickMinded offers. I used it for a lead we were working with. This marketing strategy was a key factor in helping us stand out from the other agencies, and it ultimately influenced his decision to choose us. He'll never know that the entire plan was created in under 5 minutes. Jeremy Howell. This is an insane tool. We implemented this into our sales process, and the feedback from clients has been unbelievably positive. We have closed multiple clients thanks to the generator. We closed them within 24 hours by presenting the output of your tool to them. Michael Temple. I've used the Marketing Strategy Generator to create a strategy for a new client, and the client was so impressed he hired me for a minimum of 12 months on retainer to implement it. All right, so one quick thing I want to clear up before we get going. The tools that we have created using artificial intelligence to help you create a world-class agency pitch deck are not perfect. They're very, very, very good. But this thing is not fully automated yet, and you will need a human in the loop to finish the job. We think that these things get you 90 to 95% of the way there, but we do not recommend using these without any human review. So please do keep that in mind. You can outsource an enormous amount of your work to ClickMinded tools. They're very good, but please do not rely on them completely. You do need a human in the loop for final review. So before we dive into the tool and how we create agency pitch decks, I want to clarify one other thing as well. And that's the typical format of a good agency pitch deck. Now, this can vary a little bit. It can vary on your own personal preference and personality, and it can vary on the needs of the clients. But in general, your agency pitch deck should cover these 6 core things. First is to have a compelling offer. Next is to establish credibility of who you are and what you do. Next is set expectations for the client correctly. Then explain what you do and make sure it's outcome-based. Remember, you're selling an outcome. You're selling closing more leads, generating more revenue, booking more calls. You're not selling SEO or social media. How you work, your process or system that the client signs up for. And then 1 to 3 case studies of success in the past, usually following the challenge, the goal, and the solution formula. Present the challenge that the past client had, the goal that you set for yourself, and the solution that you came to solve the client's problems. Now, when the ClickMinded Marketing Strategy Generator creates a deck for you, we're going to get you close, but you do need to drag it across the finish line yourself, and we highly recommend you follow this format for a world-class agency pitch deck. All right, so let's get started. So I've logged into the ClickMinded members area, and on the left-hand side, I'm going to go over to Create. Now, Create is where all of the ClickMinded AI tools live. It's also where the ClickMinded project agent lives. So I'm going to come over to Create New Project. This is where I go when I have a new prospective lead or a new client I've just signed, and I want to start developing all of the assets for that client and keep them in one place. Now there's 2 options here, quick mode and manual mode. Quick mode lets us do everything with just a single URL. So if you just want to get going quickly, you can give us a URL, we'll scrape the site that you give us, and we'll come back with our best guess as to what that site is about, and we'll try to pre-populate the fields for you. Or if you want to do everything manually, you can do that. Just to show you how it works, I'm going to do the manual mode here first. And so our demo client for today is retroaddicts.com. This is our demo site that we use for tutorials on the site. It is a retro video game e-commerce website, the easiest way to buy vintage consoles and games. So we have consoles, we have games, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Game Boy. This site would be my dream come true as a kid. Some absolutely legendary titles here. So retroaddicts.com is our client. They're an e-commerce used retro video games website, and that's what we're going to be using today for our agency pitch deck demonstration. Okay, so we're in manual mode, and so we're going to start off with retroaddicts.com. Enter your brand name is Retro Addicts. And what type of business is this? It is a used vintage video game e-commerce site. Next is the product information. Describe your product. The more detailed, the better. Key features of the product and your pricing model. Followed by audience information, the avatars that you have. And you can do multiple avatars over here as well. Followed by any social proof that you have. So testimonials, customer satisfaction surveys, anything you have where you can provide a quote or a testimonial from a past happy customer, you can enter those in here. Setting your country and language, the US and English for now. And then once you have all those populated, you click Create Brand Project. All right, so I've just gone back and populated some of that data. Describe your product, authentic retro Nintendo consoles and games, the #1 provider of retro consoles and video games in the US. Key features, authentic retro consoles, best quality consoles sourced nationwide, restoring and repairing retro consoles. Well, maybe we'll also do popular vintage video games from the 80s and 90s. Pricing model, typically $50 per game. And we've created a couple of customer avatars as well. 25 to 45-year-old men who are nostalgic for old video games, vintage and antique collectors, and eBay resellers. Some social proof. By far the best vintage video games e-commerce site I've ever worked with. Thank you, from Johnny Appleseed, in the US and in English. And we're going to create brand project. All right, so we've sent some of that information over to ClickMinded. The tool will take just a minute or two to process it all. And then we have our brand project. So we have spun up now a special folder for just this prospective client. So first things first, before we go over this whole tool, you can come up to edit brand info in the top left, and you can change any of the inputs you had at any time. So as you go through, if you say, oh, I made a mistake, or I used the wrong URL, or I want to add an avatar or remove an avatar, you can go in and make modifications at any point. The first, at the very top of the screen, we have your project agent. So now that you've given us information about the prospective client and a little bit about their company and what they do, you can talk to a personalized chatbot that knows everything about that client. I can start off by saying, what can you do? I can help you with marketing, business, and digital strategy tasks. Things like creating a high-converting sales page copy, email sequence, or marketing strategies. Generating SEO keyword plans, step-by-step guides, templates, and SOPs, suggesting tools, processes, campaign ideas, writing creative marketing content, all that kind of stuff. Tell me about my customer avatar. Your main customer avatar is Nostalgic Nick. He's 35. He's an IT consultant at a mid-sized firm. He has a bachelor in computer science. His goals, his true motivations, his problems, his objections, why he loves retro addicts, and what he feels after buying. So now that you've given us a little bit of this information on the client and their customer avatar, you can just simply talk to the ClickMinded chatbot and have it do the work for you. I could also just straight up say something huge, like generate a full marketing strategy for this business. You can talk to it like it's a real person, give it a real task, and it'll think for a moment. And then we get a reply. Awesome, I've kicked off your full funnel marketing strategy for retro addicts. You'll receive it via email. So that's the project agent. As we scroll down further, any potential tools that you want to use are now embedded inside of this project folder. If we wanted to create a marketing strategy, we could, a keyword plan, we could, blog posts, post remixers, email pitches, sales pages, and our target persona is listed here in this drop down as well. So first thing we're going to do is create a marketing strategy using the marketing strategy generator. This is where you want to go if you're planning on creating an agency pitch deck. So some of that information is already pre-populated. We have retro addicts here and the language. If I want to quickly generate a pitch deck using the previous information, I could, or if I wanted to customize some of those things prior to generating the pitch deck, I could do that here. I'm pretty happy with the first round of data that we gave it, so I'm just going to do quick generation. Okay, so we just had to wait a couple of minutes and then our marketing strategy is done. So here's our marketing strategy for retro addicts. So first, before we get going, as always, as a reminder, you can come up to the top left and click Edit Business Info, and you can make any modifications you'd like and then regenerate the strategy as you need to. You can also customize it. So let's say you like everything the strategy has, but it may have missed one or two things that you want to add. So you could do something like add an abandoned cart email sequence and click Customize My Strategy to add that in. So any modifications there you can do. Copy the link to your clipboard to share with other people, and we'll go over exporting in a moment. So our target persona, Nostalgic Nate. He's 35. He has a BS in computer science. He's an IT project manager at a tech firm. His visible goals, these are the things that he would tell you if you interviewed him. His true goals, these are the things that he wants to accomplish without telling you. Any purchasing objections he might have before clicking buy now, and your answer to those objections. The transformation that he personally will go through after making the purchase on the client's website. We have a couple others here. Collector Carl. This is the guy who is the vintage collector and reseller. I often feel frustrated when searching for genuine vintage video games. And then reseller Rick, finding reliable sources for vintage video games is challenging. I can't vet the quality. I risk losing money on my investments. So we have 3 customer avatars on this one. And then on the left-hand side, you'll be able to move through the top of the funnel, the middle funnel, the bottom of the funnel, and then the retention strategy. And each one of these has a comprehensive list of ideas for things you can go for this prospective client, followed by the execution tab, which is where the rubber hits the road, where you actually start to execute on this strategy. So if we go back up to the top of the funnel, here's all the things you could do for top of funnel marketing, content marketing related to the exact blog posts and their titles, and then what you should be assessing, what metrics you should be monitoring when you look at those. Your SEO strategy for the top of the funnel, keyword suggestions, the actual keywords you should be going for your top of funnel strategy, and then the metrics that you should be monitoring. Your paid advertising strategy, the actual campaigns that you should be running for paid ads at the top of the funnel. On any one of these, all you need to do is click Assist Me in executing this paid advertising strategy, and you'll move to the bottom of the document where the actual SOPs, templates, resources, and online courses live, so you can start to execute right away. So we do this for the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, and retention. We cover all of the major channel verticals: content marketing, SEO, paid advertising, social media, and marketing experiments. Then we move down to middle of the funnel. And this is the reminder of what the middle funnel marketing is. This is your consideration phase. Content marketing for middle of the funnel, SEO strategy for middle of the funnel, paid advertising campaign ideas for the middle of the funnel, social media marketing strategy ideas for middle funnel, email marketing ideas, marketing experiments. Same thing with bottom of the funnel. Your objective here is purchasing all the content marketing ideas, SEO ideas, paid advertising ideas, social media ideas, and email marketing ideas, along with experiments for the bottom of the funnel. Finally, retention, all the things you do to increase customer lifetime value, upsells, cross-sells, doing things to get purchasers to buy and rebuy again and again. So this is your comprehensive marketing strategy document. This exists in your brand project area. But if your client needs it in a different format, like slides or a PDF, we're going to go up to the top and click Export Slides and Doc. This is how you create an agency pitch deck. You first create in the marketing strategy generator, and then you export it as slides and a doc. I click that link and we'll get a little notification. We're exporting your strategy. We'll send them to you via email in a few minutes. Keep an eye on your inbox. So this will arrive in my inbox in a couple of minutes. All right, so that just took a couple of minutes. You should get an email shortly. If you refresh the page, you'll also see 2 new buttons have emerged. I can click download as Google Slides or download as Google Doc. And there we go. Our deck is now created. You'll see this massive, absolutely enormous 60+ page slide deck that has been created in just a couple of minutes. We have the client name, the strategy, the overall strategy. We cover sales funnel stuff that you can use. This comes in our colors, but you can brand it yourself, put your own logo on it. We start with high level strategy stuff. Then we dig deep into the actual personas. So you're giving your prospective client all of their personas, your best guess at who their customer is, quotes from the persona, their visible goals and true goals, their purchasing objections. So we're laying all this out for the client prior to explaining what we'll do for them. We talk about what the top of funnel is, and then we dig into the actual tactics and strategies. Everything you saw in the marketing strategy generator is now here in Google Slides form. If you prefer document form, we can do that. All you need to do is click the Google Docs button, and you'll see this massive 26-page document. You can also export it as PDF. It's the same content. It's just in a different format. PDF or slides, either way will work. All right, so we've taken some of the prospective clients' information, we've thrown it into the ClickMinded marketing strategy generator tool, we've created that marketing strategy, and then we've exported it to Google Slides. Now we need to do the most important part, which is to put your branding on all of the documentation. We do all the work at ClickMinded and you get all the credit. That's how we work here. So we're gonna go over on the left-hand side to execute. So click the execute button on the left-hand side. And this is where all of our SOPs, templates, and prompts live. We have this massive, absolutely enormous library of SOPs, templates, recipes, and prompts. You can search for them individually. You can filter by category, use case, or resource type. But we know exactly what we want this time. We want the white label SOP. So I'm just gonna go into the top search and I'm gonna type in white label. SOP number 135, white label ClickMinded SOPs and marketing strategies. Okay, and so here is what we need to do to bulk white label all ClickMinded SOPs and marketing strategies. So all of our prerequisites, like any ClickMinded SOP, we start with a goal, the ideal outcome, why it's important, where it's done, when it's done, and who does it. We can export this in a bunch of different formats, and we can also export in one click to multiple project management tools like Asana, Notion, ClickUp, Monday, and Trello. We don't need to do that today, though. We just need to follow the instructions and set this up. So first, set up your white label settings. We're going to open up the page to edit bulk white label settings. And we're under enable bulk white label, we're going to select yes. Now from here, we can set our logo, we can set our brand color, and we can remove ClickMinded links. So we can make these changes and then click update white label settings. Okay, so I just uploaded a logo I made in Canva that was 250 pixels wide by 100 pixels tall. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but those are our maximum dimensions. And I'm going to modify my brand colors to something else, slightly lighter version of blue. And I want to remove all ClickMinded links and click update. All right, so I'm back in the marketing strategy generator document for Retro Addicts. I've refreshed the page and I can click export slide and doc. And there it is. Our slides are now exported and our logo is sitting there on every slide as we need it. All right, let's pull it all together for anyone who's zoned out and didn't fully understand how this process works. It's a simple 4 steps. First, you enter your potential client's information into the marketing strategy generator. Then you export the generated strategy with your own branding, your own logo. Then you send that strategy as a pitch to potential clients. And the fourth step and the most important step, you got to prepare that European chalet of yours for Scrooge McDuck levels of gold and treasure. This is a very important part. Don't forget this one. You're going to need it if you're cranking out agency pitch decks this much faster with a much higher conversion rate. Follow in this guy's footsteps, that's for sure. And that's it. So that's how to close deals 10 times faster than you normally would. That's exactly how I create world-class agency pitch decks in 5 minutes or less. Now I have a challenge for you. We highly recommend you test out these strategies today. If you have a prospective client or a lead that's maybe been on the fence or hasn't responded to you, maybe you haven't fully pitched them yet, or you gave them kind of a half-ass pitch, use the ClickMinded marketing strategy generator, create a world-class pitch for them, put your own branding on it, and send it to them today. There's links down below to get started on this right now. We hope you love it.